Thank you for listening to The Scene. And thanks to our sponsors, Elite Feeds in Tyndall, South Dakota, Monk's Ale House, Reno Construction, Hummingbird Guitar, Chris Hay Grinding, Tyndall Motors, Kathmandu Campground, Frank's Trading Post, and Team Pluto. Thank you to our sponsors for making The Scene and with it our dreams possible. Remember to go support them and tell them you heard it on The Scene. Welcome into another exciting episode of The Scene. With me today, Cory Waller from Cory Waller and the Wicked Things. How you doing, brother?
Howdy. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm fantastic. So from the rip, I want to make sure that the band gets their shine. Why don't you go ahead and introduce the rest of the Wicked Things?
Sure. So playing acoustic guitar and singing from Goldfield, Iowa is Emily Johnson. From Gallery, Iowa, playing the guitar. Lead guitar is Romley King. Playing the bass from Rockwell City, Iowa is Etheridge Nets. And playing the drums from Fort Dodge, Iowa is Caleb Ferry.
Man,
and
is that everybody?
I just play guitar and sing.
Yeah, you just play guitar and sing.
I poorly play guitar and don't sing as well as anybody else.
Yeah. Oh man, that's funny. That's good stuff, man. You guys got a great sound. We were lucky enough to see you at the Midwest Country Music Organization Awards. But before we get to all of that good stuff, why don't you give us a little backstory? Who is Cory Waller?
I grew up in a small town, and Etheridge, our bass player, moved to town when him and I were both like 13, and he played guitar. I thought that was the coolest thing, and I just was immediately like, I need to be friends with this kid. And it just happened we were in the same class, and we ended up living like 3 blocks away from each other. And he was like, hey, you should buy a drum set. And he literally taught me how to play drums, and we were in punk bands growing up. He moved away. I played bass in a metal band for a while. Sold all my drums. After the metal band broke up, I didn't do anything for a couple of years. And then I taught myself how to play guitar and started a cover band that I was in for a long time. And then all roads just kind of led to where we are now with the Wicked Things. So,
man,
that's how I got my start, and that was 21 years ago. So
yeah, that's cool. It's crazy how 2 decades go by so fast, ain't it?
No doubt.
Oh yeah. So I grew up with music in the house, right? My dad played guitar. Always had it around the campfire. We were fortunate enough, I guess, when we were younger. When we moved from the Chicago area out to Deadwood, South Dakota, we lived in a tent and camped for 3 months while we dug a hole and built a basement and did the whole thing, right? So it was campfire jams every night. That was our entertainment. And we had always grown up with it. We had a big October birthday party. I mean, some of my core memories are always around music. So it's interesting to kind of get that seed. Where did that seed of music kind of strike you? And yeah, it's interesting to learn those stories. So punk music, obviously, there's a lot of stories in punk music too. You're quite the storyteller. Can you speak about kind of the similarities between your roots with the punk bands and things, and then how that affects your songwriting then, as mainly country music. You guys got kind of, I would say, more of an old school kind of old Nashville sound. For a bunch of people from Iowa, it's an old honky tonk sound. So
I think probably what it is more than anything is like, I think punk is a way to try to find your place in the world. And in that, it's like, okay, we're a bunch of punk rock kids, but we're from a small town. And then like where that transitions into country music years later is like, and like, you're still from that small town, right? You're still trying to figure out who you are and what you're doing. And now you're trying to tell stories just in a different way. I think a lot of the storytelling is the same, just with like, without the thrash beat. But I think a lot of it is we've just been small town kids, man, just trying to make some noise and and tell people who we are and where we're from.
Well, and I think there's a lot of that energy that comes into those heavy metal shows. I think a lot of that comes out, and especially with the band. I mean, it's hard to deny Emily's power on the
No
stage, and
doubt.
especially when you put her on the big stage, especially at the Roof Garden Ballroom, and it was just like, wow, she just shines even brighter.
Yeah, she's
But
a monster.
I'm sure she's just as at home playing the corner of some bar, that we all play, right? Like I know
Hmm.
just knowing where you're from, I know that we've played the same gigs, we're playing the same gigs, right? And then if we
Yeah.
get to break through, summertime's coming along. We're very fortunate we get to play some big street dances this year with our band. I know you guys got some huge gigs. I've taken a look at your schedule.
Yeah.
But you also get to take the band in and do some recording too. And you guys just got out of a session.
Yeah.
Why don't we speak about the new album Redfield a little bit?
Yeah. So basically in January, I think it was, we rented an Airbnb for 3 or 4 days. Um, Locked ourselves, and it was great too, man, because there was a snowstorm that weekend. And so it was literally like we couldn't go anywhere. And I think the first night in, we had 5 songs done. And by the end of the second day, we had 10 finished. They are the 10 that are going to be on the album titled Redfield. And then we spent the next 2 days really working through like full band demos. We pretty much had the whole album demoed after 3 or 4 days. And then, yeah, we just went into the studio and just finished that and starting to work through some of the finishing touches and final product of all that stuff. So it's really, really exciting just to see how fast it's all happened, and the songs are fresh, and we needed that. And I think hopefully our audience needs that. And yeah, it's all happening quick.
It's all happening.
Yeah.
I've been saying that for days now, man. The way that I describe it is it's a wave, right? We all made so much noise, and you really felt that when we were at the awards show all together. That you were like, oh wow, like all of us are doing big things, right? All of us are having big moments in our careers, and it's
Hmm.
like, wow, okay, so yeah, it's not just me. You know what I mean? You don't
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
isolated anymore, and like, oh man, are we really doing stuff, or is it worth doing what we're doing? And why a loose, an organization that is really just a loose collection of independent artists and some other people that want to support that is the Midwest Country Music Organization, has been a huge thing for me. I mean, we don't meet without the organization, right? I have no idea who
Yeah,
you guys are,
absolutely.
probably, right? We're relying on luck at that point that I stumble across your Spotify, or that you guys finally tour into South Dakota and I catch you and I fall in love with you guys from there. The fact that we got to sit down and have a conversation that weekend, before having ever met each other. I literally shook hands with you the first time as you're sitting down in front of a microphone with me, and getting to know you and you guys' music is so polished. Like
Thank
that's,
you, man.
I can't wait to hear what's coming, because I'm already blown away by what you have out there. I mean, is it all self-produced stuff? Is this all you guys sitting down and going, this should sound like this, and these are the parts, and really honing this in? And what kind of is the recording process for you guys?
Yeah, I feel like it's one thing that I didn't say like at the awards in the speech, like after we had won Song of the Year, like that I didn't get that I wanted to say it and I didn't say it, was like the song Body Aches, that one Song of the Year, like in our whole first album, The Way I'm Living, we did by ourselves. Literally, we recorded that whole album by ourselves in like a strip mall, like in like a practice room that was in a strip mall. Like we borrowed mics from friends. We had the technology. Like Etheridge, our bass player, is a huge part, and Ron, there are huge parts of like the technical side of that. But like we literally did all that by ourselves. Like got the recordings done, and then we sent them to Sonic Factory, which is where we actually went to record Redfield. We just sent those all of our takes to John Locker, and then he just mixed and mastered them. But all of the playing and the actual recording was done by, we were all five of us just sitting in a room together. That's probably no bigger than like a hotel room that I'm sitting in right now. And
Tracking it out or playing it live?
some of it was, a lot of it was done like, usually the way we did it was like bass, drums, and my rhythm guitar parts got done live, which is like how we did Redfield again. And then we would go back through and have a quiet room to do like Ronley's guitar stuff and Emily's acoustic, and we did all singing. But usually like drums, bass, and rhythm guitars got tracked live.
The meat and potatoes is all, and it has that feel, right? It's got that live feel, and that's something that, for me, I haven't gotten a chance to really do that. I mean, years ago we took an attempt at it, but it just wasn't great. And you guys are so well. I'm imagine, how long have you all been together as the group as it is now?
I think this is our 4th summer.
So you guys got some time under your belt. You got some rehearsal time and gigs and pretty much the same lineup. Yeah.
And it's always been this lineup. And to be fair with that, like, I say this is the 4th summer of this band. Like,
Etheridge and you have 22 decades.
Yeah. Ronley and I have been in a band together he was in the cover band with me before this for 12 or 13 years.
Yeah, so there's already a lot of chemistry there. You know the song. Yeah. I mean, it comes out like it's so polished. It sounds Nashville. And especially because it does. You guys got a great sound. I think there's a niche for that. You're Western without being too far Western, right? It's Western music for farm kids. You know what I mean? Not ranching kids. It's a little bit different, right? I love the songs that you write about your guitar, your relationship with your guitar. When it feels good, you'll know it. That one hit me pretty good. The comparison between the two, not to spoil the song, but for anyone, I think we're going to feature that one on a future episode of our other show, Love Noise. Is kind of where we feature songs that we like and put them out there. And eventually all of our songs will be on there, right? Like, it's a weekly show, and if we keep running, and right now we were just like, 20-30 minutes is fine, and if people are listening, man, we'll keep going. And I love good music. You write great music. I'm a huge fan. Emily writes some of the stuff as well, right?
Em helps write. Etheridge helps write a lot. Everybody does their thing.
It's a full band contribution, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Reg and me and Emily usually take care of a lot of the lyrics and stuff like that, but it's a all hands on deck thing, man.
Ron Lee's guitar parts and some of these songs, the solos and all of that, I mean, like that's just as important, right? And your guys' sound, especially, and other projects, is not as those things aren't always the case, right? But I think for your guys' sound, it is important that all of the pieces are working together. It's why you work, and it's one of the first things you said when you went up and to receive the award and to be recognized for having the Song of the Year, which is great, by the way. I recommend everybody goes and listens to Body Aches on Spotify. Features Emily out there on the vocals. She's just a powerhouse, man. And she's so humble about it. You can tell that she's completely uncomfortable in the spotlight, but she gets out there and she shines like a freaking star. And you're okay, cool. Yeah, that's fantastic that you can still be so humble and to be that big. Is really cool, and it speaks to the relationship that you all have with each other too, right? Nobody's out there trying to outshine the other one, right?
No, we're all just a bunch of degenerate friends, right? At the end of the day,
right. And not to say that you don't. I know you say that you play guitar half good or however you put it, but I would never put those terms on you. I would say the same things about myself, though. I'm a campfire strummer, right? But I like to write songs, and that's how I communicate. And I'm probably. I know I'm not the best guitar player. I don't claim to be, but when we show up, we're bringing a lot of energy. We like to have a really good time. We're Midwestern AF. That's a new
Yeah.
hashtag that I'm running for all you
Mm-hmm.
cats. I think everybody
I
can
like it.
pick up on that. Yeah. I think it's important. And that's what's cool about being part of an organization and getting to meet bands like you guys that are out there working and doing the thing. But it's not all just touring for you. You're also you said you're a fourth generation painter. Family
That's what, yeah.
business.
Yeah, yeah. Yep. Yeah,
Can you talk about what it's like? Because I also have a father that's an entrepreneur and started his own landscaping business before I was born, but or probably around the same time. Funny how that probably worked. Can you kind of talk about what some of the advantages of growing up and kind of seeing? Because you are you're a small business owner with the band as well. Can I talk about maybe just having the guts to do music?
Oh yeah, I think like you just learn accountability. Like, you know, I remember when I started full time, like having to put a big old stick lift on the back of a semi, and like I didn't even know how to run the lift, and like just called my dad, and he's just like, well, run it up and down the street a couple times, and then put it on the semi, you know. And I'm like, I don't think I can do that. And he just said, Cory, some days you got to be that guy. And today it's you. And like, I just realized like, it's just little lessons like that, you know, where it's like, hey, like there's not always going to be somebody else that like helps you through everything and is going to come save the day for you. Like you're capable, like you need to be accountable. You need to show up, like you need to have answers for people. Like, I think just a lot of those lessons translate over the music business. Like, you know, not freaking out, always trying to have a plan, like, you know, being able to pivot off things very easily, like, and then just getting to, you know, dealing with people's personalities and whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, you know, just being able to move, I guess, and just being flexible, you know,
Fluid.
and like,
It's a very
yeah,
fluid business.
yeah. Yeah. And life is too. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not just, it doesn't just, you know, lessons like that don't just like help you through running the business or a band. It's like, you know,
A
things
family.
change. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's like you can't live in black and white. It's all gray, you know, and it's just, and it's how you navigate through that. And if you don't freak out and you just, you know, try to see how things shake out instead of just making your mind up on how something's going to go, you know, like it's just lessons like that.
Yeah, well, and it's lessons that a lot of people don't learn, right? And it's lessons that, fourth generation, this business was passed down to your dad. Those are lessons that have come not from, from him even, right? That's been passed down. And that's probably those exact words and his exact words and the nostalgia for him to hear his son say, I can't do it. And for him thinking back to a time he said the same thing to his dad, probably. That's something we all need to hear, right? And I think there's a lack of accountability in our world because of just the corporate nature of where it all got to. I think it's coming back. I think we kind of like, I don't know. I was just listening to Terrence Howard on the JRE on Joe Rogan Experience, and brother, he went into some crazy stuff, man. They're out there. And I think they just overturned the theory of gravity and are overturning like huge paradigms. And I think what happened is that we hit that wall and it's kind of like we all know better now, right? Doesn't it feel like because of the information age that we all know better. You can't really fool people anymore. The collective consciousness is just in a different area. And that's the kind of the wave. It's the same wave I'm talking about that I felt around all of us succeeding in music. It's the same wave we're all riding. Is like, now we kind of just, we know what we're doing. We don't really have to listen to all of these things. And we don't need to go to Nashville or LA or New York and do all like, we can all just sit right where we're doing and do exactly what we're doing and be successful to the levels that we want to be. I don't need to be a bazillionaire, man, if we could make $100K a year going out and doing this and live a comfortable life, right? I mean, I was making 50 and my wife was making 50. If we could just get back to that, I was happy there. We had nice things, but I would be doing what I love on top of that, and I would be helping other people. Like this podcast, I know is just going to provide so much value to everyone in the future, right? It's not doing anything, and it's not doing anything for me right now financially, especially. But I know that us putting our time in right now, Cory, is making a difference in people's lives. The lessons that your dad taught you, now we're putting on record, and then we're putting it out there into the ether, right? Now we're putting it out there in the Akashic record, right? If you want to go deep down that hole. And I think there's so much of that happening because there's a bazillion podcasts and so many people downloading all of this stuff into these huge data banks. I think that has an effect, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the energy that we're feeling, and it's only going to grow. And that's why I've described it as a wave. Right now, we all built up something, and we were out there swimming. We were out there swimming and waiting and waiting and waiting, and that wave's coming, and I think we're on it now, right? Like, we're up. We're on the board, and it's up to, like, can you ride this thing all the way into the shore and then swim out and do it again? Mm-hmm. And I think it comes in waves, and maybe some waves are a year long, and maybe some waves are a month or two, and maybe some waves are 3 to 5 years or 20 years, right? But I think when you can harness that energy of the moment, that's what makes a performer really connect with an audience. And you obviously have a love for it. I mean, I know you like to play guitar and you like to sing songs, but if you're going to half-ass play guitar and half-ass sing songs, there's something about the performing that means something to you, right?
Yeah. Well, and I kind of like it's kind of what you were talking to. I'll circle back around to some of the songwriting, man. Like, one thing that Etheridge told me one time, and like that I think now in our songwriting that we try to do is like, he's like, I want to sing. He's like, I'm not from Nashville, so I don't know about that. He's like, I want to sing songs for people that know about the life that I have. And so it was like, by the Midwest, for the Midwest and beyond, right? It's like when we sing about places in our songs, we make sure that they're places that they're people from like Iowa or the Midwest know, you know? We really try to, like, you know, I don't want to sing about some road in Georgia because I don't know it. You know, it's like I'm singing it like on a new song that we have, like I'm singing about 141, you know, riding right through the heart of Iowa, you know, we're singing about stuff like that. You know, we're trying to put people in our, you know, to see the things that we're seeing, and maybe the people from the Midwest and around Iowa and Minnesota and other places will kind of know, like, oh, hey, like I actually know what he's talking about. You know, I've been to that place. I've seen that thing. Like, I know how it feels like, you know, if your dad's working late in the fall because he's in a tractor all the time or whatever, you know, like, you know why and how that feels, you know?
Yeah, buddy. Is that your dog panting in the background?
Oh, sorry. I'm scratching on something. Sorry. But yeah, we're just trying to write songs for people around here, and you know, try to hopefully give like other people, whoever listens to our music, kind of like a broader view of the things that we grew up with and that we're living and stuff like that, you know?
I think as a songwriter, it's gotta start close to your heart.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I guess I get it. I get the writers' rooms, and I get the thing. I guess I get it. Okay, I get it. You're trying to write hit songs, and then I just think once you kind of like try to turn it into this machine, you take all the magic out of it, man. You take all the 4 days in Redfield out of it. You know, you take, and that's what we're trying to capture. That's what it is magic. And I don't know that you can just sit. I don't know that you can manufacture true magic. And that's why pop music is what pop music is, right? Because it doesn't have that. Yeah, songs can be popular, but they don't have any magic, right? They don't stay with you. Then that's why those songs, they come and they go, and they come and they go. And there's been an endless train of them for the last 60 years now. right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so what I think we're all trying to do is realizing that music should start at the heart. It should sound close to home. I mean, you think about think about cultures throughout history. I will say, focusing on, our, a lot of the tribes that, Iowa and moving west and farther, right? There was a lot of tribes that intermingled amongst themselves as well, right? Amongst each other, and sharing songs and sharing things is no doubt a way that things
Yeah.
were communicated, right? Like, music is a universal language. And now, as yeah, I mean, now with technology being what it is and translators and all these things, like, no music is off limits. We can all find out what every song means, and maybe a song hits you different. Maybe a song in a different language can hit you. I love Mexican banda music, right?
Yeah. We
Love
do
it,
too.
dude.
We
Oh
listen to
my
band.
God.
We listen.
Dude, the big band sound, the tubas, it just makes me so happy. I lived in Mexico for a year.
That's
I
awesome.
was down there. Well, yeah, I mean, I was on the run. Had a kid down there. My boy Mickey's born in Mexico. A little blonde-haired, blue-eyed Mexican. He's not.
Sure.
He could get dual nationality. He's born there, but yeah, man, it gave me a deep love of that, and it always will remind me of that time, right? And that's what music is, and it's what it should be. And I think people are really digging into the Midwestern theme because it's the values. And I think anyone from anywhere can appreciate Midwestern values. We are still family first. If you want to call it, and I know a lot of people out here who are deeply religious, right? Obviously very Christian, of multi-denominationals, right? Mostly Christian, though. But I think it's a lot deeper than that, especially with farmers. They're very in tune with the land as well. And I think a lot more than any farmer would ever admit to being like woo-woo about it, right? But you are very in tune with nature and those cycles and all of those things, that it is kind of a spiritual experience.
Yeah.
Just to be a farmer. For me, it's like that, just to live around it, right? I've never lived around agriculture en masse, and to watch the land go through all the changes of the seasons. I grew up in the Black Hills, so it's a pine forest, right?
Right.
Like, it's
Yeah.
never any different. And even out on the Great Plains, there's not a lot of agriculture, especially out where we were. So I never really experienced that until we moved to Tyndall in 2020, 1,000-person farm town. And
Sure.
yeah, it's just, but it's taught me what it means here. We got everything we need, right? I don't
Mm.
need more than 1,000 people in my town. I got a city that's a couple 100,000, an hour and a half away. That's
Mhm.
close enough. It's close
Yeah.
enough. And if I want to travel farther than that, well, it just means I need to be worth a little bit more so that I can, pay for the gas, right? I mean,
No doubt.
we're
No
not
doubt.
out here making a killing yet. I hope we do. I hope we do find a way to make it all work, right? I think a few of us are on the verge of it, but it's a hard
Yeah.
grind, man. And I think it's almost better to, like, never really make it, and always be on that grind, and to keep writing really great music and touching people's lives. And I mean, I think it's all building right now. I know we're building something out
Absolutely.
here in Sioux Falls, and
Yeah.
I know you guys out there in Iowa, you're always got a pretty good network. What other bands and people might we know, CMO related, that you guys are kind of affiliated with out in the scene in Iowa?
We run pretty hard with Tyler Richton and the High Bank Boys. We're really good friends with those guys, and they are on the same booking label that we are as well. I'd say that we were friends before we were that. Those guys are just awesome. We go out and do stuff with Monica. Ronley will fill in with
Monica
Brad.
Austin.
Yes, Monica Austin. Brad and I grew up, half hour apart. So I've always known who Brad is.
Brad Morgan, I'm assuming.
Yeah, Brad Morgan. Sorry, I just like
for
to
our
assume
listeners.
that everybody knows. Yeah.
Well, and on this show, he's been featured, and hey, yeah, we've done full lengths.
Yeah.
We've featured his songs. We've done other interviews, and we're big Brad Morgan fans. We kind of have him to thank for this conversation in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, Brad. Brad got me and the Wicked Things and CMO as well. So, but like I met Robert Deitch last year at the award show, and Robert's a great writer, and he did his thing down in Nashville, and he had a publishing deal. And after the award show last year, I kind of became fast friends with Robert, and it's Iowa. You're never more than about 3 hours away from anything. So, and just playing in cover bands forever, like I've not necessarily met everybody and been good friends with everybody. It's really easy to keep tabs on everybody.
Right. It's a small scene.
Yeah.
Around the Des Moines area, correct?
We are from, I always tell people we're from Northwest Central Iowa, if there's even a place. But
right. So that's like an hour and a half east,
northwest of Des Moines.
Okay.
Up by Fort Dodge, Iowa.
Okay.
You know where that's at.
Okay. Yeah. A little bit.
We all live.
Well, that's closer to me. That's why I was worried you were going the other direction.
Yeah. No. We all live like a half hour kind of around Fort Dodge.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice, man. Yeah, and I know that we got a lot of things growing up here in South Dakota, songwriter nights and bigger shows, and things are just getting started up here because there just wasn't really anything mid-level going on. And that's kind of the problem with small areas like this is it's hard to find the money to support touring acts when you're trying to just do ticket sales, right? Like that model is not working. So we got some big ideas. We're kind of, building this thing, the scene, the podcast, the advertising to kind of fund those things, right? To provide value for both the venues beyond just a 1-for-1, hey, here's this show. But providing podcast advertising and other things that we can do as well. So yeah, it's all just parts of links in a chain, like I say. And we're trying to get guys and gals like Cory Waller and the Wicked Things out there and to give you an extra gig, right? Maybe we can pop you on a Thursday coming through South Dakota to get a little bit farther west, or, you had a tour out west. I know you guys, you've toured out to California, you said, played a gig out there.
Yeah, and we're going to be, we were out there at Mammoth Lakes, California, and this
it's beautiful.
Year, at the beginning of August or the end of August, I think the beginning of August, we're going to be out in Wyoming, and we actually just had somebody from Mitchell, South Dakota hit us up about something, but it wasn't going to work. But we'll get down into, with the Wyoming thing, we'll get down into Colorado, and before the year's over with, we're going to be down in Texas for a little while. So we get around.
Excellent, man. Hey, if you guys need help, let me hook you up coming through South Dakota, bro.
Yeah,
I got you.
And I don't know if Colin, I just want to give you a quick shout out, because a lot of that's happening through a relationship that we made with Colin Donnelly.
Yep, Colin's a friend of the show. Yeah,
and we really like his music, and him and his wife have just been nothing short of gracious on helping us try to get up in South Dakota, and I think somehow they hooked us up with that thing in Mitchell. Like I said, unfortunately, it's not going to work out, but now that's a thing. Like that's a contact we have.
Well, that's my backyard. That's why I say I got you. I got you. I'm doing a lot of work in Mitchell, a lot of work in Sioux Falls. We built up a pretty nice thing over there, and I'm actually playing there downtown Friday nights here that Colin actually just played in May, that my band was the after party for. In May 3rd, we did that. So then in July, we do the first Friday is July 5th, and then my band Starts and Ends will be the headliner there. So yeah, man, building a lot of things, and yeah, it's really an amazing time to be an independent musician because of the internet being what it is, and everyone being allowed to tell their story. It's something that we really focus on at the show here. We want original music. We've all done the cover band thing. Like, that's the thing, is that we're all coming from the same background, and it's all been fine, but I think the crowds are ready for something new. I think everybody's ready. And I think there's a tasteful way, instead of doing like the 80% covers to 20% of your original music, that if we all come out swinging the originals, eventually they're just going to like them. And then you kind of toss them a bone every once in a while with something they know. Right.
Yeah.
And I
absolutely.
think if we all just flip it on them, then there's nothing they're going to do. And my thing is now is selling the shows to the venues, zero cost to you, right? Like, no cost to you, free to your patrons. Like, I'm going to figure this out. We're going to figure this out. The bands are all going to get paid. There's money being left on the table in advertising and getting other people's names out here, especially locally. You know, we get it for the big shows. Why can't we do that at a small level? Why can't we be maximizing the value of these small gigs so that, you know, we're not losing venues because bars don't want to foot the bill, right? And if they're too lazy to go get that money, I mean, most bars that we deal with is sometimes, and it has been throughout the years, don't even promote in-house what's going on, right? Like, you show up and you're like, there's not even like, I sent you posters and there's not posters up. Like, I don't get it. Why would you not want people to know you have a band? But
that's like a rabbit hole thing that we've kind of been running down, you know, and this is kind of a wormhole for this podcast, but like, you know, it's like we've had conversations in our band about how, like, the people that used to be like there's still promoters out there, don't get me wrong, but the role of a promoter has really disappeared in music lately. And it's like, when we would, like, if we go do a show where that's a ticketed thing, it's like, you know, the venue expects us to do all the promotion, and like we think, well, the venue, if there's more people there, like, they make more money too. So, but like, there used to be somebody that just used to like get people in the door, right?
Right. Well, the venues got sick of paying that person. That's what happened. That used to be a venue paid person, right? And then they're like, oh, well, you do it and you can sell the tickets and make your money there. And there's no fucking money in the ticket sales, dude.
And I don't want somebody to just burn me in the comments section here. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, we promote everything that we do. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, I feel like there's a big gap in the music. Especially the you know, kind of the middle of the road artists and stuff, where it's like, if we go play someplace, like, we literally have to post stuff on our Facebook page. But like, at the end of the day, we only have so many followers, you know?
Yeah. And unless you're running targeted ads, which is how that wants to work, like, and it's not that hard when you know an area to build a buzz. And I think what we need is just, people got lazy and they don't have street teams anymore. You think everything's online, and you don't realize, I mean, how much that physical, like, seeing the faces, right? Like, it matters, right? It matters. Seeing flyers and being out there and touching people in the real world. Like, you have to get these touches in some way. And that's why it's nice having the podcast now to talk about things that we're releasing pretty much daily episodes at this point. I just want to keep cranking content out and just keep them going. And because there's plenty of bands to talk to, and I got all the time in the world. You want to call Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I got time, right? And then it's kind of gigging after that and figuring out how to continue paying the bills in the meantime. So as long as there's bands to talk about, I'm going to love to talk to him. It doesn't bother. I will literally talk to anybody. My wife hates it. She's a very, you know, she kind of would rather live in her little shell. And that's probably why she's leaving me alone to go to some of these gigs now. She's like, I'm tired of getting pulled out of my comfort zone because you have to talk to every single person in the room. And it's like, but that's the host. That's what I need to do. Like, nobody's going to listen to me because I'm not the best. My whole thing is that I will literally come and shake your hand, though, and thank you for coming and be appreciative of your time that you're giving to me. That's the least that I can do, you know, because I'm not freaking Pavarotti, right? Like, I don't deserve you to come give me that time like that, right? It's a different thing that I do and that I give you. And if you like my songs, even better. Oh my God, a piece of my heart to yours. Fantastic. I hope that I can continue to put these songs out here and to keep doing exactly what I'm doing right now. I saw the next 2 decades of my life laid out for me at the MCMO Awards, dude. I was like, this is good.
Nice.
This is cool. I'm good. Why does it need to be bigger than that? Why the hell do I need the CMA or anybody else's recognition? I don't even know.
Right.
You wouldn't even know half of those people if you won anyway. Right? You're in a room full of strangers. Why would I want to do that? I would much rather be in a room full of friends and doing what I love to do and sharing all that love with every single person. And just, man, it was a beautiful thing. It really fueled me up. I got to meet some great bands. That's all I'm listening to, right? That's all I care about is independent. I want to listen to my friends sing their songs.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yep.
And I want to keep putting that out there and keep telling other people. That's all I've ever done. It's literally all I've ever done. And now I finally have this vessel that is the podcast to deliver that. And yeah, man, Cory Waller and the Wicked Things are going to be a big part of what I do moving forward, because I ain't going to let you go. I'm not going to let you ignore my calls now.
No, you got my phone number.
Yep. This is how I do it. It's all a trick.
I never shut it off. So if you just want something, you just holler. Like I've joined like other, like Iowa working musicians kind of like things before that they have on Facebook groups or whatever. And like, they always put in there, like, what's your special talent or whatever. And I'm like, I'm not a good singer. I'm not a great guitar player, but I know a lot lot of people that are.
Right.
What I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
I know people that can make me look really good.
Yeah.
That's probably better.
And I know people like who play in other bands that are really good at what they do. And if you need somebody, you can always ask me, because I will probably know somebody that's decent at whatever job you need filled.
Right. South Dakota's so damn big, and I got gigs, on both sides of the state this summer. I can't have just one band that's going to do it all, right? So it's taking solo gigs, and then when I need a band on the other side of the state, well, I got connections out there too, and Build a Band is pretty much what we're doing. Yeah, it's the Build a Band workshop. You never heard about that? Coming to a mall near you.
Man, some people can do that. Props to you if you can, man. That's scary. Honestly, that scares the crap out of me.
Well, and the unfortunate thing is that, one, it's been out of necessity, and it keeps me from doing more original music, right? I can't I have some really simple ones that are easy. And the thing is that some of these relationships have been, decades in the making too. So some of these people know the original stuff, but I'm always teaching someone on stage, man. It's a rough time. So then when I go and watch bands like you guys, where it's so tight and it's so polished, and you can tell you guys, you have those relationships, it comes out, and then it comes out in the music when you make these records, and it's just like, I want that. But that's not where I'm at right now. And it's like, I'm going to put these songs that I have out there, and they're my songs. Nobody's telling me that I own all the rights to them. I do whatever the hell I want to. Anyway, so why would I, not, when I have a band, if that ever happens like that, we can all go back and revisit all these songs in the studio and make them beautiful, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's important to get them out there. And I think,
absolutely,
you got to take chances. And sometimes you got to go and just say, hey, we're going to lock ourselves in the Airbnb for 4 days, and we're going to come out with the damn record. And Redfield is born.
Mm-hmm.
So we got some dates.
Yeah, we're going to be releasing. It was a song that we played at the award show, Converse Shoes.
I liked it.
We're going to put that song out. It's going to be out June 7th, and then we're going to put out a song called "Steal a Car" that Emily is featured on. That'll be out 2 weeks after that. Sorry, I don't know the date. 2 weeks after that, we're going to put out another single called "Give Me Alcohol," which we played at the Jam that night. And then the whole album is going to come out, I think it's July 19th or something like that.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's my wife's birthday.
There you go. Happy birthday.
And I'm planning on being in Okoboji watching Brad Morgan and Scott Kirkhart.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
We'll have some traveling music then.
Oh, hell yeah. We're really looking forward to the new stuff coming out. June 7th's a big date for us, too. We got Hot Dog Night. That's our big local street dance that we're organizing and putting on and performing at. So that's a really big night for us as well.
Awesome.
And we'll have some new music to play on the big stage, man. I hope one year that we have Cory Waller and the Wicked Things playing it.
Give us a holler. Have band, we'll travel.
Brother, I'm trying to build a nice little street dance circuit out here, right? There's plenty of room for more all the time. And if we can get all the people to buy into pooling together, proof of concept. That's what this whole year is, Cory. I got an urban night that I'm starting at a club up in Sioux Falls, kind of a late night club situation. I tried a songwriter night there, was like, okay, that didn't really work. Another opportunity opened up for that thing. So I was like, cool, that's going to go over there. What can we do here? I've never done an urban night before, but I think our town is deserving of it. I think it needs it, right? It needs somewhere for funk and jazz and blues and hip hop and all of that stuff to come and live under one roof, and the raunchier comedy, right? To do a late night variety show, because there just isn't something like that. But then to have art and culture and fashion, to have the clothes and just to have something, because ultimately Sioux Falls is still rural, right? Like you still have a rural agricultural background, but man, twice a month to try to provide that, hey, here's local hip hop, here's local fashion, and that a little bit of that, because that's about how much we have, right? Is that one every other week, you do it once a day. How many days is that at the end of the year, right? 25, right. 25 days of the year that you can dedicate to that culture. That's probably a fair percentage of the population, right? Like when you start breaking things down in that, like, oh, that probably will work. Because of that, you're not trying to, we're going to do it every Friday and Saturday. We're having the same thing. And that's the problem out here, is that you just burn through. Oh yeah. You burn through your territory. You burn through your crowd so fast that you have to be mobile. You have to be able to get out and willing to travel for no money, right? I mean, the first time at least, we usually get taken care of pretty good, but a lot of these places don't have money. But when you come out and prove it, it's amazing how an extra $1,000 or something comes out of the woodwork the next time, right? Yeah. There's plenty of money around these little towns, and that's what I think I've learned now. It's just, you have to be willing. You got to prove it, man. Nobody's going to give you shit out here, man. Well, and there's not enough people to charge $5 a head, right? There's not enough people to trick into a show to come and pay $5 a head for, like you would in a bigger city, right? You have $5 and you're like, I saw 3 crappy local bands and my buddy's band. Like we don't have those shows. So you have to be of a certain level to even kind of get somewhere and even get stage time. So it's also about running open mics and things like that to feed those and kind of polish these things before they get in a live setting. And yeah, man, I got a real passion for promoting. It's funny that you say that it's kind of gone away, because you're right. And it's left this huge void in a town of several 100,000 people like Sioux Falls that should have a vibrant music scene. And there's been guys that have been holding on since the 70s and 80s, right? Trying to keep it alive, that are just tired, man. They're like, man, how many years do I even have left? Right. I've been trying to keep this thing afloat and do this for how long? It's never been worth it. I mean, from some people's eyes, but it is so worth it. I'm glad they kept it alive for me to at least give it a try. Right. I really love to put my energy into doing this right now and to put my whole heart and soul into it and just give people what they want, just give them really good shows, give them good original music, and to go find all those people and to do the work that someone who's trying to run a business and to run a bar just doesn't have the time to do, unless that's what you got into running a bar for, and that was your side, and you hired a bar manager to run the bar side. That's not what most of them did, but they all want to have live music. So let's go solve that problem, right? And let's do it at no cost to them. And then on the backside, when you guys are cashing checks, hey, we got this podcast that sells advertising. We'd love to advertise the shows that we're bringing into your place as well, right? And I hope that it has this nice kind of feedback loop to it. Yeah. And we can just grind on this for the next couple decades, man. Retire early and kick it on a beach somewhere half the year. I would love to not have to do a South Dakota winter, brother. I'm not about it at all.
Yeah, the Iowegian ones aren't so great either.
No, hell no. But it makes for hard people, and it makes for strong communities, and it makes, it made us who we are. I grew up, I grew up in Deadwood. We were in the middle of the frickin' woods, brother. It was deep. I mean, anytime it snowed, we lost power. We'd get snowed in our house for days, like not for the faint of heart, right? So I think all that pressure that, I mean, for the most part, my dad never let us feel that. We would always get out and he never let us feel it. But I think seeing that, and that's kind of why we touched on, you know, seeing your dad as an entrepreneur and seeing him as a business owner and that pressure that they're under, seeing my dad under the same things and always just having the guts, watching him operate his business on, you know, the maybe not the bookkeeping side because he didn't do that very well, but sales and selling and knowing how to read people in that and getting the job done, staying late and doing everything that it took, and then still being there as a dad. He was always my coach. He was always those things, right? And it's because he was a business owner and made his own schedule that he was able to do all of those things, right? It afforded him those opportunities. And I'm sure you kind of receive those same opportunities even today, right? Like, I mean, I'm sure your dad's not like, nah, man, you got to put your 8 hours in on Friday and show up before you can even think about driving 200 miles to go to your next show this weekend. You know, like
begrudgingly.
Yeah. He might not be happy about it, but
but you know, he is yet to tell me no. I'll say that. So
yeah,
but
man,
you know, it's like I'm out on the road right now. Like I had a week off of playing. I'm out on the road working right now. I'm in Scottsbluff, Nebraska. I'll be here all week, and then I go home on Thursday night. I watch Monica play. Monica's playing the hometown that my wife grew up in, which is where we live now. And then I'm playing that show Saturday, and then we're gone. You know, we're playing, and then so it's like I got to take my, you know, I got to, you know, take care of my responsibilities when I'm able to. So I don't have to play on a weekend. I get sent out on the road. You know, I drove out 10-hour drive yesterday to come all the way out here to work. So.
Yep. And it's that balance, right? It's the life work balance. And I think it's what, you know, a lot of the rock stars back in the 70s and 80s, right, that they got caught in, that none of them ever stayed working. You gave a bunch of 20 somethings, a bunch of money and drugs, and none of them ever amounted to anything. And it's like, now I watch a guy like Jelly Roll and all the good that he is turning around, and him and his wife are these foundations and all this money that they're giving back and changing people's lives, right? Using your voice and all that power for the power of good. And Cory, we can do that, right? And we do it on, you know, the benefits and the things. And when you go play for free and you help these people and spreading your love through the love of music and other people, like it's so important. And I think that we freaking forgot that along the way somewhere, right? Yeah. But it's alive here in the Midwest, the upper Midwest especially. You know, up here, Iowa, Nebraska, Minnesota, South Dakota, we have a vibrant batch of artists that are putting out some amazing music and art and just all of it, right? Sioux Falls comedy scene is really exploding right now. Trying to dip my toes a little bit in that, just to be a part of it, right? Like I see it happening. Sure. I'm just like, well, I want to have a little bit of that. Like, can you guys come and do a little bit at our events too, just to have your energy coming in and to give you more exposure to grow and keep doing it. Like, let's keep doing things, right? Because there's enough of a base. I mean, a town, Sioux Falls is 200,000+, plus you add in several of the other little towns, right? You're talking 350, 400,000 people. That's more than enough to make shit happen 3 nights a week. Right? Oh, like we might be able to party on a Monday, but Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I feel pretty confident that we can make some stuff happen. And that's what opens the door for bands like you and Monica and pretty much anybody that wants to come through South Dakota, hit us up. Like, you know, the books are wide open here. There are so many gigs that could be filled that aren't filled. Right. And once I go out and start selling some of the other rooms on it, then we're going to have even more stages. So, yeah, I guess right now I'm kind of starting with the ones that are not failing, but just don't have the energy to do it anymore. Right. The energy or the money, one of the two, and they're kind of losing it. And so let's step in and, like I said, provide solutions for these bar owners and provide some really cool gigs for all of our friends. It's a win-win.
Win-win.
Hell yeah, buddy. Well, I got to jump on another call.
No doubt.
This podcast and things sure fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brother, I appreciate your time.
I was screwing up your Sunday, but I'm glad we made it work.
No, man, I got my golf in. I'm good. So let's
Right
run
on.
through some things real quick. So we got Redfield is the new album, kind of coming out in
Yes.
chunks. You're saying we're getting some singles June 7th,
Yep.
then June 21st would be 2 weeks after that. I'm
Yep.
not sure about the July dates. We'll work back from the 19th and say July 5th. Yeah, buddy,
Sure.
that's my mom's birthday, and that's a big show
There you
that
go.
we're having too. So you're hitting on 2 big Fridays for us, and yeah, we're gonna be pumping your stuff out there. We're huge fans of your songwriting, just everything about you guys. We love it, and we can't
Awesome.
wait to get together and make some music and keep talking.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'd love to get the rest of the band on an episode sometime and really sit down and talk songwriting as a group, because that's something that we haven't really had yet on the show, and I think you guys would be
Sure.
the perfect band to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
Hell yeah, Cory. Thank you so much, brother.
All right.
Thank you for listening. Remember to go to patreon.com/thescenesd. Follow us on all your social media channels and make yourself part of The Scene.